Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Friday. Like literally 10 minutes ago, I was covered in hail, but some people say I clean up well, so I'm in here. Seriously, I was out spreading mulch today. I put a community post up about 2 hours ago. That's where I was, guys, just working for a living like all of you and just sitting there thinking, Then the hailstorm came and I said, man, this hailstorm sucks. And then I found out that the ATF, you guys surprised? The AFT, some people call him. They call him the former vice president. The AFT, they're at it again. So we're going to talk about their new proposed rulemaking for what they call ghost guns. Look, let me just say this right now. All this is manufacturing your own firearm, which the government did not give you the right to do. This is a natural right, and you all need to remember that because there's some stuff right now that's really pissing me off. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are pissed off too. And I understand. And you should be angry. You know, we have a republic if you can keep it, but they're trying to take it away. And the ATF, the jackboot of the government, the strong arm of the law, whatever you want to call them, they're at it again. So we're going to talk about their proposed rulemaking and regulations. I'm also going to talk about a story that's about to break from my friend John Crump at Ammo Land. He's an awesome guy. Very, very smart, and I respect him a lot. And he put out a little leak about some more stuff that's going on where there might be a secret red flag law that you're not aware of and that could affect your everyday life and could affect your ability to protect your family and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We're also going to talk about 9mm NATO ammo. And I want to apologize to anybody 2 weeks ago that got frustrated. Look, I'm not a high production studio type thing. Like, it's literally me. I was out spreading mulch. There was a hailstorm, like bad hail, covered in hail. Dried myself off real quick, and I come on and I hang out with all of you to offer encouragement because since I need it and I wouldn't be able to get by without you guys, I assume a lot of you are the same way. And that's why we're here and that's why we chat. But I had put it in the title 2 weeks ago that I was going to talk about 9mm NATO ammo and why you might need it. And it just ended up being where it was at the very, very end of the stream. So I'm going to actually talk about it again real quick because a lot of people wanted to know about it. And I'm just trying to help people out. So never meant to put it at the end. I don't do clickbait here. I just literally talk about what's on my mind. But it's good to see all you guys. Geez, look at all these good people in here. A few of you just signed up to be channel members a few minutes ago. And I really appreciate that. I appreciate all of you who are channel members right now, Patreon. Some of you guys sent me some really nice stuff in the mail throughout the week. And that's awesome because I can keep this channel going. And as we go on throughout the stream tonight, I'm going to let you guys know that Susan WikiWiki, she's at it again. Tried to put up a shotgun video, and they're restricting that right now. Literally, pump action shotguns. But we'll talk about that more in a minute. So you guys are awesome. I put every penny that you all generously donate back into the channel, and YouTube's certainly not going to help. In fact, I think they're trying to stop us from doing this outright on here. So I hope you guys are all good tonight. Besides the ATF, besides the former vice president, besides what the FBI is looking to do, there's still a lot to be grateful for. Because look, I just saw someone earlier, my friend Orion Fixer, he's been watching the channel a long time. He left a message in the chat here to my friend Mateo, and thanks for being my moderator, man. I really appreciate it. And he said, hey, man, good to see that you're consuming oxygen. And if you think about it, look, we're still alive right now. And every breath that we have is a gift from God. And maybe people in the past slacked. Maybe your forefathers didn't quite keep the republic alive. Yeah. Literally, when this country was founded, it was this great experiment on self-governance of the people, by the people, for the people, right? But only if we could keep that republic. Because we are a constitutional republic. We're not a democracy, and don't let anybody tell you that. Because a democracy is nothing more than two wolves and one sheep voting on what's for dinner, right? And we know how that vote's going to end up. So you're still here. You're still alive. And we can't take that for granted, can we? So we need to fight. And we need to fight like hell to try to save whatever of our God-given rights that we have left, that we're allowed to exercise. Now, those of you that aren't watching, I'm using huge air quotes. These rights were endowed by our Creator. Literally, these are natural rights. That's what the Declaration of Independence says. But the Declaration of Independence didn't give you your rights. Certainly, the Founding Fathers as great as they were compared to this government that we have now, they didn't give you your rights either. So when they tell you you're not allowed to freely exercise these rights, that's them trying to scare you, and they're trying to intimidate you. But they can't actually take your rights from you. As long as you're still breathing, you still have these rights on planet Earth, endowed by your Creator. And I mean that to encourage all of you. Look, these are nothing more than fear tactics and strong suggestions at the end of the day. And I suggest all of you stay strong and try to preserve this republic and exercise your rights to the fullest extent that you see fit, because you're smart people and you know what's best for you. The former vice president doesn't know what's best for you, and the ATF doesn't know what's best for you, but you do. And I encourage all of you, and I support all of you. And we need to keep our chins up, and we need to stick together, because there was literally a hailstorm out here. I'm not joking, but there's a hailstorm and a you-know-what storm going on right now in Washington, D.C. And the more scared they make us, the more tyrannical they become, because when the people fear the government, there's tyranny, right? But when the government fears the people, there's liberty. And it makes me wonder, and I'm going to talk about the 9mm NATO ammo in literally 30 seconds. I know I ask you guys this question a lot, but I do think about it often. They're basically trying to stop home builds. They want to know where all the guns are. And then they're going to want to register them. And then after they register them, it will lead to confiscation, because that's the only end that path leads to. And it always has in other countries. And we've seen crazy things happen in other countries that we would never want to happen here. And we see crazy things happening in this country that we never want to happen. And look, the Second Amendment. I love all of our rights that are affirmed, guaranteed that the government is not to tread on these God-given rights. I love all of them. But the Second Amendment, I truly do. I believe it's there to protect when they try to take all the rest, right? So why do they want us to not be well armed? Because a well-regulated militia is necessary to the security of a free state. It didn't say like it's optional and maybe kind of sort of it'd be a good idea. Like you can go out and plink and have fun. Now you do have the right to do that, but that's not what it says. A well-regulated militia, and that's not the National Guard. That's not a policeman. That's literally you. We the people are the well-regulated militia, at the ready, trained, well-armed to where the government would fear us and we would have liberty. What do they have planned for us right now? Do you ask yourself this? What do they have planned for us that they would want to do where they want us to be unarmed? And you should think about that. And you should be scared a little bit, enough to take these people seriously. But at the same time, you need to be encouraged. And just remember, this current former vice president, any of the other ones, all of them combined, they did not give you your rights. You need to keep your head high and you need to stay strong. You're going to have a lot of decisions to make soon with these upcoming regulations. And I'm sure all of you will make the right decisions, because all the people that I see hanging out here, you guys are really smart people. And glad to get to hang out with you guys. 9mm NATO ammo. What is it and why might you need it? Okay, well, there's a bunch of different types of 9mm ammo out there. And a lot of it, the cheaper stuff, tends to be a little bit on the weaker side, which is fine for many types of plinking and many firearms, especially it seems like the ones made in America. They work just fine. I mean, you've got stuff like, I'm going to grab this right here. Thank you to Steve Wagner, by the way. Generous contribution to the channel. He sent me 2 boxes of this ammo and another generous gift. This is good stuff, guys. 124 grain. Okay. This is standard pressure, Syntec. I like this stuff, and it works well in many, many firearms. Now, 9mm NATO ammo, or we can say plus P, because they're kind of about the same thing, really. What is it, and why would you need it? Well, you guys probably know what NATO is by now, right? So this is basically a general specification, pressure spec, grain weight that is used by all of the NATO's militaries. So we can see here's some Winchester white box, NATO. Made in the USA, 124 grain. Here's another example you guys might like. This is a Sig Sauer offering. This stuff was available about 1.5 years ago. Haven't seen it since. But this is also 9mm NATO, 124 grain plus P, full metal jacket. Now it says NATO and plus P because essentially they're actually basically the same thing. And I keep saying basically and essentially because ammo is a big rabbit hole, and I'm not going to get into that tonight, but there's a range of pressures that can fit within these different specifications, and plus P can, mean different things. So there's going to always be a little variance. However, militaries, police officers, whether they're in the United States or abroad, generally are not going to use just what we call plinking ammo or cheap range ammo. No, they're going to be using something that's usually plus P, plus pressure, right? A lot of times hollow points, different types of, bullets that are going to expand, and generally in most cases, and there's always exceptions, have a higher degree of lethality because they're trying to stop threats, or in the case of militaries, win wars, or whatever it is that they do. So with that in mind, if there's a firearm that was primarily made for military contracts or for police contracts, the gun is going to be designed to shoot plus P ammo or NATO ammo. Now, what do I mean by designed to? Well, technically most guns. Now, if you have an old gun, maybe not, read your owner's manual. There's always outliers in the gun world. I think you guys know that, right? Most modern pistols will shoot plus P ammo, but they weren't necessarily designed for it. I know in Taurus's manuals, for example, and they make great pistols, and I really like them a lot. They'll say you can shoot plus P, but maybe not a steady diet. Okay, well, that's what they manufacture those for. So they're going to put a spring in a Taurus G2C that doesn't have quite as much weight to it. The springs aren't wound as tight, for lack of a better word, right? And they'll cycle fine on the weaker ammo. However, if you use too much NATO or plus P, it could possibly have adverse effects on the firearm. Now, I'll tell you this. Here's a little asterisk, just my personal experience. You should probably follow what the manufacturer says, right? However, I've shot a lot of plus P and NATO through my original G2C, going into my other G2C, my G3, now my G3C. I've not had any problems. They really like that ammo, but there you go. So if the firearm is sprung on the lighter side, a little weaker weight spring, you could potentially wear it out quicker. Well, if you have a military or police contract pistol where they're planning on these officers or soldiers, for lack of a better word, firing plus P or NATO all the time, they're going to make that spring stouter, and they're going to beef up, in some cases, other parts of the gun. But the main thing is how it's sprung, your recoil assembly. Sometimes it's one spring. Sometimes it's a dual captive guide rod. You guys know what I'm talking about, I'm sure. And sorry to bore you guys that know more about this than me, but there's a lot of new people out there, and I want to help them too, because a lot of them are really good people too. So if I'm boring you, I'll be through this in just a minute, I promise. So if a gun is sprung for NATO ammo, where it's not going to wear out, it's going to have a stouter spring. Now all of a sudden you shoot something that's standard pressure. Again, this is good ammo. You could find having a lot of jams, short stroking it, where the firearm is sprung so tightly that it's, you're going to need something like a plus P or NATO to overcome that spring tension for the action of the pistol to work, for it to eject the spent case, go back far enough, say it's a slide of the handgun, to chamber a new round and put it back into battery and start the whole cycle all over again. Now, some of the budget pistols that have been for sale lately and are for sale right now, those are actually police-type pistols. So, for example, the Zagana PX9 from Turkey, during this whole, whatever you guys want to call it, this shortage, craziness that we've all been enduring for over a year now as far as gun prices and availability, you've seen these Zagana PX9s for sale a lot, and a lot of you have bought them because they're affordable, but those are actually a police pistol, and that's what they made them for. Other foreign governments use them for police forces, and even some militaries are using them. Those guns, in my opinion, from my experience, were designed to run plus P or NATO ammo. I'll give you another example. My Stoeger STR9. That one wasn't running very well on regular federal brass case, 115 grain, good stuff. The stuff that used to be cheap at Walmart before they decided to go woke social justice warrior tyrannical on us, like most corporations. It wouldn't run on that very well. Put the NATO in there, ran perfect every single time. It even ran good on the Wolf steel case. This stuff right here. Say what you want about it. It might be dirty. Some of you don't like to shoot steel in your gun. That's a personal choice. I could care less. But this stuff actually was able to cycle some of these duty style pistols better. So here's the moral of the story. Why you might need to try out some NATO ammo or Plus P. You may have bought a gun, whether you knew it or not, that was designed for duty, for police, for militaries, and it might be kind of puking on you and not working right just because you're not using the ammo that was designed for it. That might be frustrating. And I can see where it is, because you might have some standard pressure, 115, 124, whatever grain ammo. You're like, man, this sucks because this is the ammo I can get. So, hey, there's no free lunch with guns. There's always that trade-off, right? But if you have one of these NATO spec guns made for service duty use that sprung tighter, the firearm's probably going to last you a long time because it was built heavy duty. And if it can take a diet of this stuff, after it gets good and broken in, you may find that it shoots the regular standard pressure just fine. So that's my little secret for you guys, especially if you're buying foreign import pistols. A lot of the cheap ones right now, try some NATO ammo if it's jamming up on you. At the very least, break it in, okay? Even if you bought a brand new Glock, Beretta, whatever, these were former foreign companies, but they now make their pistols here. I always like breaking a gun in on some nice, stout ammo or Plus P loads. So I've got a couple numbers for you guys. 9mm. When we say Plus P, we're talking plus pressure or we're talking standard pressure. The standard pressure for 9mm is about 35,000 PSI, okay? That's kind of the baseline. That's standard, regular. We can call it range ammo, cheap stuff, whatever you want to call it. It's good ammo. NATO is at 36,500 PSI. Well, that so happens to be where Plus P starts at about 36,500 PSI, right? So you're looking at what, about a little over 5-6% over standard pressure. Now, Plus P has a maximum of about 38,500. And once you exceed that, then it becomes Plus P plus, and not many guns are you supposed to use Plus P plus. Some of you guys do. Some of you have sprung your guns certain ways where they only run on Plus P plus, but most owners' manuals are going to advise against that, because once you get over that 38,500, it's not actually like a true SAMI spec anymore. It kind of fits in the unknown where, hey, look, it's over 38,500. Do you know how much exactly? Maybe not. So that's kind of for the advanced shooter, and I would maybe avoid Plus P plus unless you've done your research. And those of you that know more about ammo than me, you guys know what you're doing. So that's kind of the deal. NATO ammo, certain guns were designed for it, okay? And it might run better on that ammo, at least when you break the initial spring in, right? NATO and Plus P, they're basically the same thing, okay? And I know there's been a lot of confusion about that, and I get a lot of comments about that where people are like, well, hold on a minute. Should I be using NATO ammo or Plus P? Well, there's going to be some variances here and there, but in broad sweeping strokes, they're basically the same thing. So hopefully that helps you guys out. And for the rest of you, if I bored you to death, I'm sorry. I just never would do clickbait. And 2 weeks ago, kind of felt bad because a lot of people said they literally came to watch that stream just because of the 9mm NATO ammo discussion. And it was a 2-hour stream, and I didn't get to it till like 1 hour and 52 minutes in. But hey, it's you guys' fault. You guys are so cool, Like, I literally sit here out of the corner of my eye and I read as many of these as I can. And that's good, though. Distract me all you guys want. You guys are awesome. And by the way, I can't possibly read all these chats tonight. There's more of you than there are me. But I do go back and read all of this throughout the weekend. And that's where I tell you guys, like, I'm genuinely encouraged because you guys are out there, like, helping each other up right now. You guys lift each other's spirits up. Pray for each other when they're sick, congratulate each other when you're having a new baby, and then just helping each other out and giving each other advice. And that's kind of my favorite part about this stream, to be honest with you guys, is just all of you, just how much encouragement I get and how many people are making good friends on here every Friday night. IROC, SS85 with the super chat. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it, dude. He says, which pistol did you decide on? Keep up the great show. Okay, so I've been thinking about getting a new pistol for the channel, and you guys have been asking me. AROX Delta Gen 2, that's the one where you can swap out the different plates and put the word that's taboo to Susan WikiWiki. It's that thing that you look through, and there's a red little thing in the middle of it. And literally, it's gotten to the point now where even saying that word on here can get you in hot water. So the AREX Delta, okay, it has plates and it's ready for a certain something that for whatever reason tyrants are worried about lately. Or the SARS Lamaze SAR 9. You guys have been asking back and forth. So I put out a little poll. I put out a community post and I asked, AREX Delta 9mm Gen 2 versus SAR SARS Lamaze, right? That's Turkish company. SAR 9. And I think probably the winner was both. I'm sorry, guys. If I could have bought both, I just would have bought both. And I appreciate how generous all of you are, but I can't buy both right this second, although I probably will later. And then a bunch of people said, no, review a Glock instead. And I'm like, guys, I've reviewed a lot of guns, please. But besides all the people that didn't answer my question whatsoever, and I love all of you guys, and a lot of you guys are funny, and I do appreciate you messing with me. But besides people saying, hold on a minute, is the sky blue or is it gray today? And the people said, hold on a minute, it's yellow and purple stripes. I think the AREX won. So I'm going to get an AREX Delta Gen 2. I just kind of got done tallying up, I basically let you guys pick. So I'm going to try out the AREX 9mm, probably the M, which is kind of the medium size, I think is what they mean by that. Basically Glock 19 size. So I think that's what I'm going to go with. A lot of you guys love the SAR 9. Some of you completely hate it, and I get that too, but I don't know. I was kind of like 50-50, so I said, well, what do I do? Phone a friend, ask the audience. So I asked all of you guys. So yeah, I know some of you guys are going to look forward to that. Some of you have been telling me like, yeah, dude, it's like really, really awesome, right? So cool. I'm glad you mentioned that because you guys know what I'm saying. Go read the comments. It's hilarious. I'm like, guys, what should I get? Should I get the AREX Delta or should I get the SAR 9? Somebody's like, get the Sig Sauer, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, it's funny. You guys are awesome, though. Mr. C with the super chat. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. He says, hey, guy, I just purchased a CZ Scorpion Evo 3 S1. Dude, awesome, awesome pistol. I have one. I love it. 9mm and a Smith & Wesson Victory 22. Those are cool. Nice, man. 22mm. 22 caliber, I think you mean, right? 22mm is pretty big, man. He's got the Smith & Wesson Victory. Did you buy a piece of heavy artillery? Nah, he meant 22 caliber. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it, dude. Denny's Plant-Based Journey. What's happening, man? He says, thanks for the super chat and for being a channel member. You guys are seriously so generous. Thank you so much, guys. All of you that are Patreon channel members. I'm lucky, okay? You guys are awesome. He says, other tubers have similar issues with the visual focal point, top-mounted tools. I know. Of all things, that's like the thing that they hammer you on. It's called restricted, right, Denny? Seems strange they don't want you to know what you are pointing at. I know. And if you guys remember the ATF's letter, which that'll be coming again soon, they wanted to get rid of the braces. And one of their main reasons are it helps you aim better. So what? They just want people out there wildly shooting, missing their target. You go for the bad guy and you hit the innocent child in the stroller 100 feet away. Is that what they really want? I don't know. Look, Denny, it's called restricted. Demonetized is one thing, okay? It used to be if they didn't like what you're doing, it was demonetized. Well, they have the algorithm. Now they're actually putting in there restricted and demonetized. And literally this is what that means. When I did that one visual focal point top-mounted tool, I like that, man. Thanks. When I did that video, it didn't make a penny in ad revenue, which whatever. I'm not doing this for the money, but it's nice if they give me a few crumbs because I was going to buy like another visual focal point top-mounted tool. But no, they actually restricted it too and literally said like limited visibility. And that video got less views than any videos I've gotten a long time. And I just spent quite a bit of time doing a shotgun video where I showed several budget shotguns that I thought you would all enjoy. And I don't know. I'm going to have to decide. I'm not in the best mood with Susan Wiki and YouTube right now. Oh, speaking of which, Susan Wiki's in the chat right now. Look at that. She's a real beauty. And when I say real beauty, I mean, in a different kind of way, in a not so nice way. She's a real beauty, isn't she? Susan Wiki. I'm not happy. I don't know. I might post that video publicly. I might delete it, but yeah. Did a video on 3 pump action shotguns, budget pump action shotguns, like literally, like, you know, buy a shotgun, Uncle Joe shotgun. The only gun that he literally says he encourages you to buy, right? Yeah. He's a real beauty too, isn't he? Where am I? He says. Hold on. He says, hold on. Where am I? This is my wife. This is my daughter. Whoa. They switch. This is my wife. This is my daughter. Like, literally. I'd rather have that hailstorm right now than to watch him speak ever again. But yeah. Restricted, not suitable for monetization, which that's a whole nother separate thing, but not suitable for the viewers. Budget shotgun video. You guys believe that? It's getting pretty frustrating on here. I don't know. Just shoot him in the leg, MP said. Shoot him in the leg. That's not my advice, Susan. I'm literally just quoting one of our former vice presidents. The watchmaker with the super chat. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Did it cut off what you were trying to say, or were you just hooking me up with a donation? Thanks, man. Yeah. No, look, they're just going to keep censoring, and they're going to keep censoring, and they're going to keep censoring, but I don't know what to do. See, here's the problem, guys. I work more than full time. I own a very small business. Not getting rich, but I've been doing this 20 years, and I'm able to feed myself and my family. I'm out landscaping, spreading mulch, getting wet, whatever, you know. Just, it is what it is. A lot of you guys work outside. And then I find like a couple hours a week to do some videos because this is what I love, but this isn't going to feed my family, right? And then I spend time, and a generous friend of mine, Frank, thanks a lot, man. And I think I am going to go through, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm seriously don't know. I didn't delete it. I didn't do anything drastic, but it's just so frustrating. I spent a couple hours doing a video that I thought a lot of people would enjoy, and it might help a lot of new shooters too, you know, and not suitable. Not suitable for people to view, not suitable for anything. And it's just really, really getting annoying. But, oh well, I'll decide. I'll decide over the weekend. I'll sleep on it. But eventually, I'll probably just get sick of this place one day and not come back. But there's you guys, and I appreciate it. And that's why I'm here, literally, to hang out with you all and just to vent and talk about it, because we have to talk about this stuff. Even the supposed conservative mainstream media, they don't really talk about this stuff, do they? A lot of you are probably sitting there, actually throughout the whole world, but especially with some of these issues in these 50 United States. And you sit there and you think to yourself, you're like, man, none of my coworkers get it. I understand. Not many people get it at all. None of my friends get it, some of you are thinking. A lot of you, and this sucks. You're like, my family doesn't even get it. And then you turn on Fox News, and those guys don't even get it, do they? No. So you sit there and you think to yourself, and I know there's someone watching right now that feels this way, and that's why I'm on here. And you're thinking, man, am I alone in this world? Is there anyone in this whole country who even cares about what's happening right now? Is there anyone who even acknowledges that we have God-given rights, natural laws? These are laws of nature and of nature's God. That's what the Declaration of Independence says. Well, it's not just you, and you're not alone. And there's probably a few hundred people watching this right now that feel the same way you do. And it's good for you guys to talk to each other. And I guess if I never put up another video on here again because nothing's suitable for viewing and it's all shadow banned and whatever, and they literally tell you now when they put these marked, like they'll put like this yellow symbol right next to the video when you've got it private in your creator studio. And some of you fellow creators know exactly what I'm talking about. But whatever, I'll keep hanging out on here. Not for the money. It's not for YouTube. I'll tell you that much, because of you guys, because of all the encouragement you offer me. And we're going to need it because the ATF's at it again. And they just released this while I was literally out working today. And we're going to talk about it in 1 second. They're going to redefine what a firearm is. Yeah. Now, look, before we even get into this, I know what some of you are thinking, because I am too. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. And the first part's very, very important, isn't it? You know, we're going to read the second part in 1 second. Well, I'm not reading it. I have it memorized. But being necessary to the security of a free state, that's why we have to stay vigilant. That's why you have to preserve your rights that weren't granted or given to you by government, but they're sure as heck trying to scare you into giving them up, and they're trying to take them away. It's a necessity. If there's any chance of saving this country, that's what the founding fathers said. If we want any chance or semblance of being at least a little bit free, although we're not very free right now, it's necessary. Okay? But then the next part, the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So why is there 110, 120 page proposed rulemaking? Ruling on what? Shall not be infringed. It means what it says. It says what it means. It means hands off. Don't tread on me. If there was even one gun control law of any type whatsoever, that would be unconstitutional. Literally. And that actually includes if they're treading on rights of felons. And some of you are probably going to give me a thumbs down for saying that. And you're probably going to get mad at me. But nowhere in the founding documents does it say the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed unless you're a felon. Because maybe you just crossed the T wrong or dotted the I wrong on some paperwork. Yeah. You know, there's felons like that too. But even violent felons. Here's my argument, guys. More people are killed with hands and feet. Look it up. These are the statistics that the jackboots themselves put out. More people are killed with hands and feet every year than they are what they call AWs, right? AWs are assault rifles. Yeah. So why are these people on the street if these people are so deranged that it's imminent? It's guaranteed. The person promises, if you let me out of prison, I will kill again and I'll kill as many people as I can. Why is that person out on the street? Why are prisons doing nothing to reform people? It's another question, isn't it? Why is it that if somebody pays their debt to society that they don't get their rights? That doesn't make any sense either. And I don't believe that's what the founding fathers intended either. There's so much to all this. Look, he raped 13, killed 65 out of cold blood. Do I want him walking around on the street with an AR-15? No, because I don't want him walking around on the street right now. If he's promising, he's not been rehabilitated, he's not done whatever to get his mind right. If he's promising, I will kill 65 more my first day out, they shouldn't be on the darn street. But no. Look, any gun laws, literally every single gun law is unconstitutional because the founding fathers so eloquently affirmed our natural rights, rights of nature and nature's God, Declaration of Independence. It literally said shall not be infringed. And the fact that we even have to go through 110, 120 page rulemaking every couple months, whenever the wind blows, there's another set of documents. We have between 20 and 30,000 gun laws right now. But they're never, ever going to stop because these are tyrants and they won't stop unless or until we tell them enough's enough. I will not comply. I don't acknowledge. I just don't care anymore. You guys are all going to have to make personal decisions. I'm certainly not going to give you guys advice on how to live your lives. But no, these people aren't going to stop because that's what tyrants do. And we can never let this become a communist country. And it's already pretty darn socialistic and probably a lot closer to that than what we might like to admit to. Rudy Finney with the super chat. Thanks a lot, dude. I appreciate it, man. He said, are we taking bets on where China's missile is going to be landing? Oh, man. Is that what that hail was? Is fallout from the missile? Was that some of the fuel cells disintegrating through the atmosphere? I don't know. Somebody said that earlier. You sure that was hail, dude? I don't know, Rudy Finney. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. The Watchmaker. Thanks for another super chat, dude. I hope you're not trying to send me messages and they're not coming through, but thanks, man. I appreciate it. You've been a long-time viewer and supporter of the channel. Thanks, man. And they skipped my chat on me like they always like to. And by the way, come on, guys. The least you can do, it costs you nothing, is give me a thumbs up just to piss off the algorithm. They probably already got this video deemed not suitable, but if you give them a few thumbs ups for nothing else, if you like the show, give me a thumbs up, but even if you don't, just do it to piss off Susan Wiki. Thanks, Mateo, for the super sticker, dude. And thanks for helping out so much for all you do on these streams and behind the scenes for the channel. I really appreciate it, man. I do. Thank you. The Reptile Guys, what's happening, man? How you doing? Thank you. He says, Odyssey's live stream is actually becoming pretty good. Okay. I know you like to stick to this main platform, but it could be something to think about. And I will. And I've had an Odyssey account for a while. And it works. A lot of people ask me about Rumble. I've been trying to figure out Rumble for a long time, and I can't get it to work. So I don't know. They won't. Here's what happens. I upload a video to Rumble, and it just sits there, and it says pending approval, and Rumble's never approved anything I've uploaded. So I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a nobody for Rumble, which is probably what it is, I guess. Or maybe Rumble doesn't like gun videos. I don't know. Just taking some of my YouTube videos, okay, and uploaded them up to it, and they literally sit there pending approval, pending approval. I tried to email their customer service, and they're like, well, if your videos get approved, we'll post them. And I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. But that's cool. Odyssey's doing live streaming now. I didn't even know that, guys. Thanks for telling me. Drain the Swamp 2.0. What's happening, man? Another good Michigan guy. He says, hey, buddy, I'm looking forward to the 2A meeting in Fowlerville. Make sure you announce the info beforehand. Look, if you guys are in the southeastern-ish Michigan area, May 15th, it's called 2A Days. It's in Fowlerville, Michigan. Go check my community post. It has a little flyer on there. And I hate Facebook too, but I have a link to a Facebook post because that's where they posted the event. If you guys want to go, I'd love to see a lot of you guys there. I know I saw Drain the Swamp recently in Howell. Awesome, dude. I've got my good luck coin that you gave me, actually. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I need to call you soon because one of my customers is looking for a little drywall work that we might want to do. So I need to send you a text message or give you a call, Drain the Swamp. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Lori DeVries, good Michigan gal right here. What's happening, Lori? How you doing? She can't wait for it. Awesome. I'll just be there hanging out. I'm not like speaking at it or whatever, guys. I'm just going there like you guys do, and I'll probably, I don't know, I'll interview some of the people speaking and probably get some content and hopefully get to say hi to some of you who are in the area and want to come and hang out. Jane Locke, there she is. How's it going, Jane? Another good Michigan woman. What's happening? You feeling a little better now? That's good. That's good. I wish you the best. She's been struggling a while, guys, and I know she appreciates all of your prayers. And I got your last message you sent me earlier, Jane, and definitely praying for you. So hang in there, girl. You're going to be all right. You need to be all right. We need you. The whole world needs you. Heck, we need all of us right now when you look at all this crap that the ATF, the FBI, all these people are up to. It's kind of crazy. Somebody asked me earlier, Chuck R was in here. He said, T-check. I'm like, I'm getting a little bit low. I'm all right. I'll be able to afford to buy some more. So thanks a lot, man. Making sure I'm all right. Looking out to make sure I'm hydrated. I got to have my iced tea when I'm out here working and hanging out in these live streams. Yeah, look at all these good people. What's happening, Old Coasty? How you doing, man? So, ATF, they're wanting to redefine the definitions of a frame or receiver and identification of firearms. So, for a long time, let me just say this before I even get going, like, all of this is infringing, period, end of story. But the people have apparently consented by not stopping it, by whatever means they would, I don't know, but by not stopping it, the American people have grown accustomed to and consented to a lot of gun control over the years. In fact, we're getting close to 100 years now. National Firearms Act of 1934. This was sweeping gun legislation that led to registration, tax stamps at that time on things like machine guns, silencers, short-barreled rifles and shotguns, and what they call destructive devices, and many other things. They put an onerous tax on there that $200 then was the equivalency of thousands of dollars now. Put it on a federal registry, didn't it? Well, that was bad, really bad. And if that wasn't bad enough, let's fast forward in 1968, the Gun Control Act of 1968. Now, this was also, in a terrible way, a groundbreaking piece of legislation, like literally tyranny at its best. And it established a whole nother set of laws that not only expanded on the NFA, but created a bunch of new terms. And one of these was the fact that firearms now needed to be identified and serialized. Well, let's think about this for 1 second. Serializing something. Well, if you're in a library and you have a card catalog, right? And you locate the books, you use the ISBN or different shelves. This is in row 8, shelf 3 in the fiction section. That's so you can go find that book quickly, isn't it? Some of you work in retail and you keep track of your inventory. You know, you go to Lowe's and buy something, Home Depot, right? You're like, I'm looking for this. And they pull up their little doodad thing. Aisle L, 3/4 of the way down, fourth shelf up, bay 6. Well, that's because all this stuff is serialized with barcodes and numbers, so they know exactly where these products are. And there's no other reason for them to want to serialize firearms, for them to know exactly where they are. Well, a lot of you just want to be left alone, don't you? You don't want to do anything bad. You wouldn't be after the government physically. You literally just want to sit there and hang out with your family, your friends. Because if we can just have a few people in our life, family, just a couple close friends that we love and love us, we're really lucky, aren't we? And that's really mostly all we want. Really, what it comes down to is this. The founding fathers knew exactly what we want and what we need. And that's why they said you're endowed by your creator with certain unalienable rights, that amongst these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if you have all those, what more could you possibly need? So with that, with the Second Amendment being there, in my opinion, in case and ultimately when they come to completely demolish all of the rest of our natural rights, that's why it's there. And you just want your guns for many reasons. A lot of you guys like to go hunting and put nutritious natural meat on the table, and that's a great reason to own a firearm. A lot of you want to protect your homes against a bad person that would come in and try to deprive you of your life and liberty, which that's also a perfectly awesome reason to own a firearm, and you all should protect your family. Now, we also have guns so that we can shoot on the range and plink and have fun, which having fun's awesome, right? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So, of course, pursuing happiness, having a good old time. Yep. Some of you use them to collect. And it's fine to collect those. You can collect coins and postage stamps and baseball cards and guns. And that's also a great reason. But the real reason is, and this is where it's not only your right, but it's your duty to fend off a tyrannical government. And they know the only reason you're going to ever take up arms against the government, or you would even think about it, is if it become so tyrannical. If you were underneath absolute despotism, right? It says right here, but when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. Look up despot. It's a pretty strong word. It is their right. It is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. That's what the Declaration of Independence said. Not me, Susan. That's what the Declaration of Independence said, right? So that's all you want to do, isn't it? A lot of you are nodding your heads. Yeah, that's all I want to do. I want to do some plinking. I want to do some home defense. I want to be at the ready because a well-regulated militia is necessary for the security of a free state. But that's not good enough for them. And a lot of you already know that since 1968, you've had to serialize your firearms, right? So they know exactly where they are. But you don't want them to know where they are because you also have the right to privacy. You also have the right to be secure in your papers and in your effects, don't you? And you have the right to be secure in your home. Now, no doubt they're trampling on the whole Bill of Rights, aren't they? But you have the right. You have many rights. And in fact, not just the enumerated rights, the Ninth Amendment specifically states that it's not meant. Yeah, I'll read it right now. The Ninth Amendment. It's an awesome, awesome amendment. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. And you know that. And you just want to be left alone. And you don't want your gun serialized, where it's like the card catalog, where the nice librarian can go, oh, here's your book, sir. You don't want them just to sit back, do you? As they're spying on you and as they're doing all the tyranny that they are, to say, oh, here's so-and-so's Glock. Here's so-and-so's AR. You don't want that. And they know that. And that's why this new proposed rulemaking is happening right now. Let me catch up on a couple chats real quick before they leave. Marco Polo. I don't mean you guys leave. I mean before the chats leave and I can't get to them. Marco Polo, thanks for the super chat, man. He says, good evening. Trying to understand this. Redefining a firearm, no matter how many gun laws, won't stop a bad guy. Yeah, keep strong. Thank you. No, they're never going to stop because look, bad people, they're going to do what they do, okay? Good people generally don't need laws because we just understand that, look, as long as we're not depriving someone else of their life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. If you're not doing that, you can basically do whatever you want. Now, you're not allowed to murder because that's depriving someone else of their life. But here's the thing. And the Founding Fathers knew this, and they said it many times. For this grand experiment on self-governance, right, for that to work, it assumed we would have a moral people, okay? Moral people. Now, some people have no morals, and they don't mind just needlessly taking life, and they don't mind. For some reason, they have no conscience. I don't understand it because I've never been able to just sit there and say, well, I'm just going to deprive this person of their life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. But some people, they can do that somehow, and they do that, and they do it all the time. And there's a lot of evil in this world, and there always will be. There always will be, and evil will always prevail when good men do nothing, right? I truly believe that. So no, it's not going to help with that, and it never, ever will. And they know that. They know that. And in fact, in my opinion, they're the bad people that we have to worry about. Me Nguyen, I hope I pronounced that right. He says, preach on, man. Thank you for the generous super chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I hope I pronounced your name right. I'm not very good at pronouncing, but thank you so much. Look, I'm just being myself on here, just like if there was 4 or 5 of us hanging out. But here's the problem. There's only probably 2 people in this whole dang town that I could even talk like this with. So guess what? That's why I'm on here hanging out with you guys, because we can talk and, you know, I can act myself and be real. So they want to basically serialize all these guns. Huh. Now, you're going to find guns that are on the street. These are their words. We got to get the guns off the street. Yeah, well, they file serial numbers off. People are going to do what people do. And like I said earlier, if people don't have a moral compass, no law is going to stop them whatsoever. And when I say moral compass and I say your rights were granted to you by God, endowed by your creator, that's what the Declaration of Independence says. And it's up for you to decide who your creator is. Look, I know a lot of people that have high morals and high codes, and they actually do follow most of the 10 commandments just because they're good people that are devout atheists. And a lot of you are watching right now. So God, freedom of religion, okay? That's in the First Amendment. And I cherish that as well. I don't care what religion you guys are, okay? I have my religion. I believe in my creator. I believe who put me here as a miracle, because we're all a miracle. Every life is a miracle from wherever. I believe in who put me here, and I believe who's going to take me when it's time. And all of you have something that you believe in. But certainly, even if you guys don't believe in religion at all, you don't think that this crazy, sleepy, dopey former vice president created you, do you? Do you think the head of the ATF created you? Well, no, of course not. I was just being sarcastic, right? But unless they created you, they didn't give you your rights. And that's the most important thing, okay? I could care less what religion you guys are. But you just want a little privacy, don't you? And that's where the serial numbers came in 1968. Now, there were stipulations then that said that if these were being manufactured and going to be engaged in commerce, that's when they set up, you know, these FFLs, federal firearms licenses, where you couldn't just walk in and buy a gun, cash and carry anymore. A lot of that changed. Heck, if you go back before the National Firearms Act in 1934, you could buy a Thompson submachine gun from the Sears catalog and get it shipped straight to your house. You could. Believe it or not. And that's the way it still should be right now, because people that are doing bad things, they're getting the guns one way or another, and they always will, right? Then they changed it and said, well, you have to have serial numbers on anything that's made by a gun manufacturer. If you're selling guns, if you're engaged in the business. Then they started coming up with all these things like an FFL Type 7 that you would have to manufacture, right? But none of that ever applied to making your own gun, because if you're not engaged in the business thereof, you're not trying to make these for the primary purpose to attain profit. There's different ways they've worded this. I don't agree with any of this. I'm just giving you guys some background information of what's going on right now. That you didn't have to do any of that. You were exempt from having to put serial numbers. Big air quotes. I hate even using these words. You were exempt. You were granted exemption from the government that didn't give you your rights, right? Well, as we're finding things getting more tyrannical every day, and I've seen stuff happen in the last year that have nothing to do with guns whatsoever. that I hoped I would never even see in this country. And I thought I probably would, but like always, we're always vigilant. We're always ready for the fight, but we have to remain optimistic. And I was always just optimistic that maybe I can live through this life and my daughter and, they can live through and not have to face some of this craziness that we see throughout the whole world. I've seen so much change just in the last year with just society, with the grip of the government, with all these jackboot governors that were given just a little bit too much power. It seems like they never, ever, ever want to relinquish it, right? My governor, she's a real beauty. Some people call her Governor Whitmer. Other people call her many, many things, but this is a family-friendly show, so I'm just going to say she also falls into what I would call a real beauty in a different kind of way. And I've seen stuff, and you guys have too, and you're probably just shaking your heads right now saying, I can't even believe it. There used to be a time in this country where you didn't even have to acknowledge that you do have the right to breathe fresh air. And you do, and I want to encourage all of you that you do, and that you're responsible. As the left always says, it's your body, right? Huh? Not if you're not trying to fit into this new tyrannical way. So, like everything else we've seen, everything's stepping up another notch lately, isn't it? And I wonder if it's a coincidence, and you guys can decide this for yourself, or you guys can chat about it there in the side chat. Is it a coincidence that right around the time when people are starting to have to fight for their right to breathe fresh air and fight for the right for their children to not be abused by adults, and they're having to fight for all these things that they just took for granted so long, right around that time, they're trying to get rid of your anonymous, your anonymity, ways to make your own firearm. That can't just be, remember that whole card catalog at the library? Where's George Orwell's 1984? This is actually a true story. I went to a public library, southeastern Michigan, last summer. I'd like to check out George Orwell's 1984. Oh, you can reserve it online. I'm like, no, I want the book. We don't have that book. Well, I wasn't surprised, actually. But you're like, where's George Orwell's 1984? She's like, all right, if they did have it, but that's a whole other story. That's going to be second floor, okay? Row L, shelf 3, halfway down. We'll just go and grab it. Now, right around the time you're struggling to try to be able to breathe fresh air and do many things that you took for granted for so long, now they're really clamping down where they want to know where every single firearm is. Now, I started off this stream, and if you guys are just now joining, go back and watch. All of your rights were endowed by your creator. Whoever created you gave you your rights. And the government in the United States of America was supposed to have been instituted amongst men, and it was supposed to only be put there to defend your rights that were endowed by your creator, right? Yeah, it's true. And I still believe in that. And you guys need to still believe in that. Because there's a lot of people trying to tell you right now that you're the radical one. You're the crazy one. No. The Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, they say what they say. They're beautiful documents, and we can never forget them, because if we do, they're just going to be pieces of parchment paper. They're going to get destroyed, and then no one will ever be able to read them again. And that's why I read them here while I'm still allowed to, by Susan Wiki and all the people on YouTube. But right as you're struggling right now, and a lot of you are thinking you watched your cities burn for the last year, didn't you? And you watched it where, look, when seconds matter, when trouble was imminent, police were only minutes away. And sometimes they didn't come at all, because maybe you live in the city where there was a corrupt, tyrannical city council that said police aren't allowed to respond to this type of occurrence. They call them mostly peaceful protests. You guys remember that? You're watching them. There'd be like a CNN reporter. Stuff's blowing up, raging. There's a raging fire. I have to move. And you're watching like the camera equipment's turning them out besides the reporter. Besides this raging fire, besides that, and the hundreds of people, the hundreds of dead people over there, it's actually a mostly peaceful protest, they called it, right? And a lot of people realize, and that's why we've had tens of millions of new gun owners just in the last year. And that's why a lot of people that have guns their whole life went out and bought a whole lot more firearms. And I don't blame you, and I understand why you did. Because you want to protect your family, and you want to protect your country and your liberty, right? Yeah. Right around that time, they're like, hold on a minute. We need to clamp down and find out where all these guns are. So certain parts got defined. National Firearms Act started it. That was the big piece. Let's go into the GCA, because that's actually the thing that they dovetail off of the most nowadays. Most of these gun control laws are them amending the Gun Control Act of 1968. Very tyrannical law. Shaking my head, wondering how it even passed. But I know why, because evil will always prevail when good men do nothing. And people kept on saying, my Second Amendment, my double-barrel shotgun, from my cold dead hands. They won't take it. Just let this law pass. Let it pass. They ain't going to take nothing. There's still people right now, and I bet you $100 there's somebody in this chat tonight that's saying, dude, this dude's crazy. He's insane. Ain't nobody coming after your guns. Oh, really? Really? Okay, FUD. So, making your own firearm. Now, what is a firearm? It used to be defined as a frame or receiver, okay? And although we found out in the last few years that the ATF's so screwy on how they've regulated, promulgated, that's a whole nother topic that I've talked about before, right? They've made rules on what part of different models becomes the firearm. And we've become accustomed with, let's just say, the AR, because that's America's rifle, and it's the most popular rifle in this country at this point, right? It was called the lower, right? It was called the lower. Drinking buddy, okay, FUD. Hey, man, I went on a rant about FUDs last week. You guys know. You guys that have been here before know my view on them. They're actually probably worse than the tyrants that are making these regulations. And I'm not even kidding when I say that. The lower receiver, that's always been the firearm. Even though it didn't meet all the criteria, look, none of this should matter. It's all unconstitutional. Back to that again. Now there's this new proposed rulemaking that's going to make it very difficult for somebody to legally, big air quotes for those of you that are listening, to make your own firearm. Because now they're saying on certain firearms, it could now become the upper receiver. AR, for example, that may be one of them. What about the pistols? You have a slide on the top of your pistol, right? And in most cases, not all, let's just say your Glock style pistols that have become prolific lately, right? You're going to have, it's going to contain your striker, your firing pin assembly. Well, that's now, according to these rules, going to become part of the firearm. And they're going to want serial numbers, and they're going to want the origin, the city, the state, all of that. Now, why would they want that? Well, for me, it's simple. There's no other reason they would want to do that other than they want to know where the firearms are. And that's called a registry. And we found out due to my friend John Crump. I want to give him another shout out. He's a great author, works with the GOA, does a lot of podcasting here on YouTube. John Crump Live, John Crump News on YouTube. Check him out. He's been breaking a lot of stories just in the last week alone, talking about different backdoor ways that they're making registries. Now, why would they be making a registry? Kind of, in my opinion, like, why does a criminal go case out the joint? Like, let's go drive through the hood or whatever they say, or the countryside or wherever, because there's criminals everywhere, not just in the hood. They could be in Beverly Hills. They could be in Timbuktu. They could be in North Dakota, but they case out the place. And they're like, oh, that has something I'd like. Instead of going out and spreading mulch all day like I did today, or doing roofing, or all the jobs that you guys do. A lot of hard workers in this stream. A lot of you guys, instead of working like all of us, no, they want to steal from you, right? Well, that's, in my opinion, why they want a registration and why they want to know where all of them are, because why else would they want to know? Like, here's the deal. You guys have many, many fine firearms, and they're awesome, right? And sometimes you guys sharing pictures with me and email them to me, and that's great. We're just sharing guns amongst friends. But other than that, like sitting here talking about the guns we like, I don't care what firearms you own. Why would I want to know exactly what firearms you own? Like, look, I have my own. Whatever I have, look, I have more than I need, but not as many as I want. Isn't that the old saying? Here's the thing, though. Here's my worst fear, and this is a bad fear. And tell me if some of you guys have this, okay? My worst fear is one day. Hope she lives longer than me. I really do. I love her a lot. My wife, she outlives me. And my worst fear is that she sells all my firearms for the price I told her I paid for them. Right? Look, I don't care how many firearms you guys have, because I'm not going to come for your guns. So why does the ATF care? And they do. And they don't want you to make your own firearms anymore. So they're wanting to redefine, where I couldn't read all of it, and I'm not a lawyer, but it's 110 pages long. The skinny of what I was able to skim through while I was, working and kind of spreading my mulch, mentally preparing for the stream. They want to make it where if you have a slide, a component, that could become the firearm, right? Now, if you have something that's easily convertible, readily made, something that with what they say is a small amount of effort. Now, they've said before that if it was 8 hours in a machine shop, that would be something that's almost a firearm. Now, that's insane, because a good machine shop, as you guys know, could crank out like hundreds of complete firearms in 8 hours, but whatever, right? So here's what it comes down to. And there's other channels that they're a lot smarter than me, and they've probably gone through all the nitty gritty of it. But at the end of the day, they're not going to tell you what the heck they want to consider a firearm and what they want you to serialize. Now, they'll tell you a few things. They're going to come through and say, AR, okay, AR uppers, those now need to be serialized. They're going to say these quote unquote 80%ers and what they call ghost guns. That's their terminology, not mine. Those are now going to need to be serialized. A lot of pistols, they're probably going to say the slide is now the firearm. Now, the lower will still be the firearm, too. They're not going to, look, they never take anything back. You give these people an inch, they're going to take a mile. And in my opinion, they're never, ever going to stop until they're all gone, or until the people say enough's enough. And then we'll see what happens. And I dread that day, but we'll see what happens, right? But here's the problem. Just like all these rulemakings, they sit there, and if there was one word that was to promote gun control, it would be unconstitutional, because the Second Amendment literally says shall not be infringed. But it's not one word. It's hundreds of pages stacked upon hundreds of previous pages, and laws upon laws upon laws. There she is. How's it going? Linda, Sleepy Joe, gotta go. I always like to put her up there. Why? Well, because she's really pretty. Anyways. They don't want to tell you exactly what's in these new rules. They actually don't. And that's kind of what I concluded by skimming through them. But they do want you to be scared, because you're like, well, what's this? If I were to get this one little part, would it need to be serialized? And maybe some people, and maybe you, and maybe people you know, right? They're going to be too afraid to buy that part that they need to complete that next build or whatever it is they're doing. And that's exactly what they want. Because they can't literally go through, we all know this, they can't literally go through and arrest every single person in the country for everything they want to all at once. It just wouldn't be possible. There's way more of us plebes than there are the higher ups, the authority, as they call themselves, right? The authority, and they say, you will respect my authority, right? No, they know that. So what do? They try to scare people. They try to take a few people and make them examples here and there. And then 99.9% of the people, they just comply because they don't know what else to do. And they've been trained throughout their life that that's what you do, right? Isn't that what you guys are kind of thinking too? They make this stuff so purposely vague that you actually, in the end, don't even know. And you're supposed to just kind of make sure. And you know what they really want you to think to yourself? And I truly believe this. They truly want you to be like, I'm not even going to think about having one spare part in my whole house, because if all of a sudden they make this firing pin need serialized, I don't want to go to prison. I don't want this. I don't want that. And of course, none of us want to go to prison, right? Like, who would want to? And they're hoping that people will get scared and just err on the safe side, And hey, if you're safe enough, just get rid of all your guns, and that would make them very happy, because I do believe they want where there's no guns at all in this country, except for in their hands, because they always want guns, don't they? Gray Man with the super chat and a channel member. Thanks a lot for supporting the channel, man. He said they're doing all this to fix a problem that doesn't exist. Statistics don't support any of it. Yes, and thanks for reminding us of that. Look, they're creating problems to try to fix problems that don't exist. Do y'all remember Fast and Furious? Now, this isn't really that long ago, but if you look how much this country has been changing, like every year now is like warp speed, right? More changes every year than it did in the previous 20 years. And this has been going on a long time. This did not start yesterday, but the snowball's collected so much snow and it's going so fast down. Do you guys remember a time a long, long time ago? It was the Holder Obama administration, right? There was a certain former vice president back then, too. They had Operation Fast and Furious, where they would take guns from the United States of America and purposely cross them over international lines into Mexico, into the cartels, right? They did. Then they would get their crime statistics on what crimes they were using and which ones were coming back into the United States. Yeah. They literally, a lot of times, and I'm just giving you guys this as an example because I'm not just on here trying to make stuff up, although I might get stuff wrong from time to time. And these streams are always just for entertainment. I'm not a lawyer, but do you remember that? They literally ran guns across to another country to see how many made their way back into the United States. That was literally instance of them creating a problem so then they can come back in and say, well, hold on a minute. We created this gun problem. Now we need to fix it. And those are pretty scary words, isn't it? There's really no more scary words you can hear than I'm from the government and I'm here to help, right? I don't think a lot of things that he said or did were good, including me knocking my water down. But yeah, I always kind of liked that Ronald Reagan quote, just to be honest with you. And I'm not even a big Ronald Reagan fan, but scariest words an American can hear is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. And then you just look at the numbers, like Gray Man says, it's just not true. And I said it earlier, didn't I? More people are killed with hands and feet every year than they are with these AWs. Huh. Very interesting, isn't it? Now, keep in mind, all these people that are of the upper echelon, we're not supposed to have different... Look, you're not supposed to have to address people by titles in this country. We're not supposed to be a country of lords and ladies. Back to what I said earlier. Right when this country was founded, Ben Franklin was asked by a woman, what have we, right? A monarchy or a republic? Well, he said a republic if you can keep it. And he meant that for her, all the people that have lived and died since, and all of us right now. But we're not supposed to have a monarchy where there's lords and ladies, and you're born and you're the heir to the throne. And there's laws for the haves and laws for the have-nots. That's not supposed to be the way this country works. But it's getting closer to that every day. So what they'll do is they'll try to make it where there's no problem. I mean, there's problems everywhere, but this is not the statistical problem they like to make you think it is it? And in my opinion, they literally want to ban all firearms. That's literally where the end goal is. And it's just one step closer. They want to know where all of them are at, don't they, Gray Man? Absolutely they do. And in my opinion, they've been caught red-handed doing it many times. They'll create whatever problems they need to make sure they can come in, and Big Brother can throw you that little life buoy, right? You're drowning, grab onto this. And then they pull you in and throw you off of Niagara Falls, and now you're in rapids 10 times higher. You were drowning in 6 inches of water, and then they drug you and threw you over Niagara Falls. That's what it seems like. Here, we'll help you. We'll take all your guns. Just come with us. Here. We just want to know what the serial numbers are, guys. It's no big deal. Why do we want to know? Oh, you don't need those. There's too much of a problem. Just politely hand them in. You just want a free trip. Then they'll come in next. And I hope this doesn't happen. I hope 10, 20 years from now, you just want a prize. Oh, really? I want a prize. Awesome. You're going on vacation. Really? Okay, cool. Just step this way. Where are you going? Just keep coming. Oh, I'm at the train station. This doesn't look like first class fare, but all right, just get in the train car. We'll take you where you need to go. Now, that might sound preposterous to people. And it probably sounded preposterous to people, too. When you look at this, it was called a Reich that was supposed to last 1,000 years. If you look in the 1930s and 40s in Germany. And they started off by enacting more strict gun control laws. And they started registering the firearms. Then they went around and confiscated firearms. And then they had that whole if you see something, say something thing, didn't they? Where they got people to rat each other out. Where they got all of the people to, use the American people against ourselves, because that's what they've done effectively in all these other tyrannical regimes in the past. And they got the people to do their dirty work. And then they finally came and said, all right, you're coming with us. And they gave them a train ride. And you can't talk about it much on here, okay? You know, they sent people off, and some of them didn't know where they were going. Some of them did. And this is something that was despicable, that it kind of makes you really mad when you think about it, and it kind of makes you want to cry. I mean, that's me anyways. And this just keeps happening over and over again. People all think, well, this is something new. All they want to do is just serialize a few. No, look, this has happened so many, many times before. And we're on YouTube, and we're in a public place, and there's certain words that if you even say it on here, even once, they'll literally just take it right off. And I know they hate this channel. They seriously do. I'd like to share some of this with you guys, but I don't know. I'd like to share some of the stuff, but if I even share like my analytics pages behind the scenes, supposedly that's violating terms of service, right? Anyways, the ATF proposed rulemaking, whatever. They want to redefine what a firearm is. Now, there's certain instances that appear to be very likely at this point. What we normally call upper receivers, slides, firearms that in their opinion can be readily completed into a frame or receiver, things like that. And then, by the way, anything else at their sole discretion at any time, where you just have to be so scared that you'll just voluntarily give up all your guns. And they're hoping as many people do that as possible. Now, I don't think anybody's really going to do that here. And I encourage you guys all to literally, take your own advice. Talk to people that mean the most to you, Husband and wives are going to have to sit down and have some conversations about what they're going to do. Yeah. Some of you might need to sit there and talk to your parents. Some of you might know exactly what you're going to do. And these are very personal choices. Because what's at stake here? Well, there's going to be a lot of people that could possibly become felons overnight. Yeah. And I know you don't want that, but possibly, look, it's already really, really far down. So that train's been going far down the tracks in a lot of different ways. I hate to use that analogy, but it's kind of true. Look, we've already lost a lot, but a lot of people don't want to lose their complete and utter country where there's nothing left of it all. A lot of you are going to have decisions to make, and I'm not going to tell you guys how to think. I'm not going to tell you guys what to do on here. You wouldn't listen to me even if I did, and you shouldn't. And that's why I always say how smart all my viewers are. Plus, we're on a censored platform where I have to really watch what I say. And I might have different conversations with a lot of you guys if we were just, peacefully walking through the woods. But I urge all of you to really dig in deep and make personal decisions for yourselves with all this stuff. If you feel you need to be scared, that's your right to be scared. But guess what? It's also right here. Again, not my words, okay? Not my words. It says, but after a long train, right, of abuses and usurpations, it said it is their right, it is their duty to throw off said government. The founding fathers didn't just say you have the right, they said you have the duty. I didn't charge you with that duty, but Thomas Jefferson did actually. Literally, he didn't give you your rights, but he charged you with that duty. So did George Washington. So did Ben Franklin. So did Alexander Hamilton and James Madison and John Hancock and many, many other very brave people that signed their death warrant if they would have lost, but they didn't lose. And that's why we're here talking about this stuff right now. Rainy day, 44-124, 762. Here you go. Here's a 762. Here's a 762. This is a 6.5 and a 762 case. Here's a 762 by 39, 762 by 54R. Criminals aren't concerned or afraid of those 110 pages of the ATF rules. Heck no, they're not. And they never, ever will be. And I'm just telling you guys the truth. They want you to be afraid. And a lot of people are going to be afraid. But I'm encouraging none of you to be afraid of those 110 pages either. You don't want to be afraid. Look, we all just want life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We don't want to be scared, and I encourage none of you to be scared. But criminals, they're not going to care. Gates Jr. reloading with a super chat. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. He says, do you think that our nation will end up dividing territories and common beliefs, values, and parties, almost like the North and South again? Yes. How it will go down, I don't know. Everybody wants to look at the United States Civil War in the 1860s as a model. I don't know if it's going to be exactly like that, but I appreciate your analogy because, look, you don't know. We always have to use something. It's just the way human brains work to compare it to, right? Short answer, yes. And I don't know. See, here's the thing, guys, and I struggle with this stuff. I don't have all this figured out. I'm not a particularly smart person. But I do think about this stuff a lot. Some days I'll truly sit there all day long and think, and I hope we do. I hope this country splits right in half and they can all have their part and it'll fail and it'll become a third world country almost instantly and we can have all our part, you know? Some days I really, really want that. And then other times I think that that's the stupidest thing ever and I feel like an idiot for even wishing for that. I just don't know. I'm not saying that because I'm lost for words. I could talk about this topic for days if I wanted to, but I won't bore you guys too much. I just don't know. I don't know if I want this country to divide right in half. Them versus us versus them, they and me and we. Look, I don't even know how to define it, but I think you guys know it when you see it. You know what I'm talking about here. But look, I don't know. It says these United States of America. I'm sure China would be happy to see us divide, you know, that whole divide and conquer. I'm sure Russia. I don't know. Let me know down in the chat. I don't think this is anything that anybody can prove. I don't know. I wake up and I'm like, okay, it's Friday. We need these United States where we can stand together or we can hang separately, right? And there's many, many good people in all of these 50 states, and I didn't realize this before. And this is something I want to thank you guys for. I get so much encouragement. Look, there's people in here. They're more patriotic than anybody I know, and they're from New York, and they're from California, and they're from Massachusetts, and they're from all these different places. And they are part of us, even though they're living, quote unquote, with them. And stuff just gets so complicated, doesn't it? And some people can't just pick up and move. They want to pick up and move, but there's things like family, and sometimes people have a certain job that they have expensive student loans and there's nobody hiring in the next state over. I mean, look, everyone has personal decisions to make, but I do know this. It's not just as simple as everybody in this state should just fall off into the Atlantic or Pacific Ocean. Now, there's days we think that, but there's a lot of very, very fine people that live in those states, and they're good people, and they're just people, and they're people that we need in this good fight. I don't know. I probably rambled on too long because I'm not going to figure this out tonight. Don't know if I ever will, but it's something I think about often. So, MaxShot62 with the super chat. Thanks a lot, man. Thank you for being so generous, dude. Just hope you had a good birthday. Yes, thank you, man. Happy Mother's Day. That was last week, guys. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Stay safe to all the good Leos as we approach Leo week. And God bless all of our service members. If I miss the stream next week, happy Armed Forces Day early. So he's giving a bunch of shout outs to all of you guys. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, dude. I will be in Fowlerville, Michigan next Saturday. Not sure if you're busy or not, but if I don't see you then, I'll see you another time, man. I definitely like seeing you. I don't know. What are you guys going to do? You don't have to answer this here. This is just stuff for you to think about. And look, there might be a couple hundred people watching this stream right now, and that's a lot, and it does matter, and all of us matter, and you matter, and that's why we need to talk about this stuff. But all of you have friends, don't you? And all of you have family members. And maybe there's one thing I might say all night that kind of sparks a conversation for you to start with somebody. Maybe I won't say anything at all that gives you any optimism, but somebody in the chat might, right? So this is what we need to do. We need to get together and we need to start thinking. But what are you guys going to do? I don't want you guys to be scared. Okay? I am on YouTube right now, so I'll talk as much as I can on here, which is not really very much, to be honest with you. I already say way too much, and they hate this channel. Become quite evident lately. Budget pump action shotguns. Restricted, not suitable for most viewers. It's not just not all advertisers. That used to be the old thing. I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, I'm sick and tired of YouTubers complaining about DMB being demonetized. Look, that's a totally separate thing. They're into a new thing now where they're literally saying restricted. We won't let many people see it. It's getting kind of crazy. And that's what I get ticked off about. That's what I get ticked off about. So that's what we all need to do is talk to our friends. I do not want everybody to be scared. There's 110 pages of stuff that, in my opinion, is intended to scare you. And I don't want you guys to be scared. And when I put out videos on certain topics, they make it where not many people see them. And that's what gets me mad when not many people see them, because I want to try to offer knowledge, support to as many people as I can. Not many, but I want to do the best I can, right? That's what I encourage all of you to do. Sergey Petrenko, another Michigan guy. Thanks, man. How's it going? 556. Well, this is a 223, but yeah, close enough. So I can already, someone's going, that's not close at all, blah, blah, blah. Close enough. 556-223. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. He says, hi from Michigan. I'm optimistic about the future because we got the guns. That's good. Look, I don't encourage anybody to get scared. Okay. I can't encourage exactly what I like to on here right now, but hey, whatever. Harry Grimley, what's happening, man? Smash the thumbs up, people, he says. So if you haven't left a thumbs up, I'm not going to beg you for one, but you kind of have to, because Harry Grimley told you to, and he's my friend, and he's a longtime viewer of the channel. So, Scott, what's happening, Scott? How you doing, man? 2A days, 5:15 in Fowlerville. Yes, sir. I shouted it out earlier today. Go over to my community page here on YouTube, and there's a link to a Facebook post about it and a little flyer that I put on there. So, definitely encourage you guys to check that out. Nice to see you, Scott, man. As always, dude. I appreciate you, too. You've been fighting the good fight hard in Michigan. You own a small business in Michigan, right? Look, when you own a business, you think you own the business, but the business really owns you. Isn't that right, Scott? But Scott's out there fighting when he gets a chance, even though he's a busy guy, and I do appreciate it, Scott. Denny's Plant-Based Journey. What's happening, Denny? Channel member, super chat. Thanks for helping support the channel, dude. And just thanks for hanging out, man. I like you. He says, I try to obey all laws as a Christian. Yep. Romans 13. I want to fight. Obey God above men. Acts 5:29. God has given me the right to defend my family. I will. It is my role as a husband and father, period. Well, that's awesome, man, that you're encouraged. And many people are encouraged by the good book, by the Christian Bible. But many of you, and I get it, I'm not judging you guys. Even if you're not Christian, just find what encourages you and get encouraged, because, look, whoever you have your duty to, whoever created you, right? It is your right. It is your duty. That's what the Declaration of Independence says. And I truly mean that. And I think it should be the whole thing where they're like, oh, they tried to make people serialize all these parts and tried to put the boot of the government on the people's necks even harder than before. And oh my gosh, the number of these guns just doubled. I think that would be great. Why not? I don't work in the firearms industry, guys. I don't make a penny if the gun sales double. I just think it'd be awesome, right? Always good to have more horses in the stable. For real. Speaking of people, I had some awesome people help out the channel. I'm not going to give too much of their info because I don't want to dox people, but I think this is his YouTube name. Steve Wagner sent me this ammo, and that was totally awesome, dude. I really appreciate it. And another generous gift. So thanks so much, man. C. Noonan, you know who you are if you're watching, and I hope you are. Thanks so much. You also sent me a generous gift in the mail, dude. Thank you. Old Coasty, thanks a lot, man. Again, you guys are totally awesome. Like, I go to the P.O. box, and there's usually just bills in there, and then there's something from a viewer. It's nice. It really is. I appreciate it. And then a guy named Pete, and I just don't want to give your last name if you're watching, Pete. He raises bees and sent me some honey, and I sent him some two-way stickers. So my family will enjoy that. Thanks a lot, man. And all of you guys who help out. I kind of like feel bad sometimes because I forget to thank somebody, and all of you who leave generous super chats, all of you who do Patreon, channel memberships, thank you so much. I really do feel lucky, not because of the money, because, again, I go out and buy stuff for the channel, and I'm going to continue to do so. But you guys work hard for your money. And if you feel that it'd be best, put into this channel to help spread the good word or just do firearms reviews, that means a lot to me. I'm honored that you guys think that much of my videos. That's actually what makes me the most happy, just so you guys know. Amir Muhammad, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Says, what if you had P80 before the ban? I'm new here and not sure if this was talked about. I know, and I'm trying to figure this out too. And I did talk about this a few minutes ago. In my opinion, they try to define a few things just to get us all on edge, right? But they don't really want us to know all the intricacies of it. It seems like they just want you to be scared, and they'll come forth when they're at a certain prosecution in court and say, well, here's how we're interpreting this. They said a lot of that. As far as a true grandfather clause, guys, I was literally out there. Go look at my community post. I was spreading mulch like as this broke. John Crump came on live. I went right over there. Okay, great investigative journalist. I always looked at him as a good source. I'm listening to it with my Bluetooth earmuffs as I'm running my skid steer loader, dumping the mulch around the beds. From what I heard, I thought I did see that there was somewhat of a grandfather clause, but please don't take my word for it. I hate to give someone bad advice. I need to research a little bit further, okay? So hopefully that was a decent answer, okay? Look, there's two ways to look at a grandfather clause. Let me back up because I think I only told half the story. Okay. If there's any new ones that are being made and sold to the general public, those are all going to be serialized parts from what I understand coming from the manufacturers. As far as what you already have, that's what I'm not sure on. I'm not certain that you have to go back and serialize something that you already had before, but I could be totally wrong. I could be. And here's the problem with all this. It's intentionally vague. In my opinion, it's intentionally vague so that you're like, just screw it. They're hoping that Amir here will just take and I'm just going to throw them all away to make sure. So I don't know. People are starting to say there is no grandfathering. Okay. It's 110 pages long and it just came out today. Okay, there isn't. Okay, fine, guys. There is no grandfathering. Thank you, chat, for helping out with that. I've not been able to read all 110 pages, but I know what's going on, and that's why I was kind of giving my opinion on it. Look, it's a registry scheme, in my opinion, leading to a confiscation scheme. And you have the right to privately own your own firearm, to build your own firearm. You've always had that right before this was a country, while this is a country. And even if this is never a country, if this country ceases, which it could, I mean, I don't know, some of you want it to, some of you don't want it to. That's a whole other topic. It'll still be your right to be able to build your own firearm, right? I don't know. They're saying you have to serialize it or destroy it. Yeah. But do you guys agree with me? It is a little bit intentionally vague too. They don't completely want to define what it is. So for the P80, yeah, that one, they're probably going to want you to serialize or destroy it or turn it in. But there's other components. What about this, guys? We don't even know exactly what they are. There's certain firearms. What part is going to be the receiver? What if it's an AK? Is your AK trunnion going to need serialized? Because I don't know if you guys know this or not. For all you AK people out there, in most countries besides America, what's referred to as the front trunnion, if it's a stamped receiver, AKs can be stamped or milled, right? If it's a stamped receiver AK, usually what we call the stamped receiver, that's nothing in most countries. They'll call it a receiver shell. I think in some countries they literally call it a crust. I think that's some kind of weird translation. A receiver crust. That's not the serialized part. That's just the stamping of sheet metal. The trunnion, right? Which the receiver rivets to. Yeah. Where it can receive the, right? The bolt. I don't know. It receives the barrel. That's considered the receiver in many countries. Well, right now, people build a lot of AKs. Not as many as ARs, but they do. Is the AK trunnion going to be are you going to have to take your rare parts kit, okay, and have to, etch your city and state in it? I don't know, because I didn't specifically see, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, I didn't specifically see where they said an AK trunnion is specifically this. So, I don't know. I'm not sure, guys. I literally don't want to just give bad advice, but I think it's supposed to be just so onerous and so confusing that you don't know. I'm gonna cover one more thing that I put in the title, and someone's gonna get mad. They're gonna say I came here to talk about the secret red flag laws, and they waited till near the end. But I'm sorry, guys, I have to pick a certain order, and it's not scripted. So I was talking about John Crump earlier. Ammoland. He's on YouTube. GOA for the state of Virginia. You guys probably know who he is by now. If not, you should. He put out a video, a little teaser the other day, and he's going to be dropping the whole thing any day now, that said there could be a secret red flag law, if you will, red flagging within the federal government. Did you guys see that? And it's pretty scary. And just a quick summary, it's something like this. So we have all these different government agencies out there, right? If they decide to take you, me, just common plebes, they call us their citizens or whatever, people. Like, we're all just people at the end of the day, aren't we? If they decide that you should be a prohibited person, this is through the NIC system, and I've done a couple videos about that just in the last couple weeks. Look, it's everything. They're just trying to bombard us, guys, where we get too scared or too frustrated, okay? They write a whole book, and it's clear as mud. There you go. There you go, Ben. Like I said, my viewers are smarter than me. I just ran it for 20 minutes, and that's what I was trying to say. So thanks, Randy. I appreciate it. Clear as mud. They write a whole book, and it's clear as mud. Okay, so through NICS, right, the National Instant Check System, there's a list. And if you're prohibited by NICS, you go to the gun shop to buy a firearm, and you're denied. Now, this actually kind of ties in with this new ATF rulemaking, because they're starting to want all this stuff to go through FFLs, and they're even having a new type of gunsmith, was part of the proposed rules today, where they can get a certain type of gunsmithing FFL just for the purposes of taking it into the gun shop to get it serialized. So, yeah, you could get denied on the NICS check to make your own firearm, is what it sounds like to me. So, look, it's all unconstitutional, every bit, because the Second Amendment literally says shall not be infringed. And I'd like to repeat that, because we do need to always remember that. But in the laws that the people have accepted in this country over the years, right? A long train of usurpations, it says. But I digress. So they go through, and there's a background check. This got put in, right? This was all part of the crime bill, Brady bill, all of that almost 30 years ago now. And there's a list where you can become a prohibited person, and the statutes define these different reasons. And it's supposed to be the law of the land. It's unconstitutional law. The Second Amendment, the Constitution, that's the law of the land. And I hate court precedents and I hate case law, but if somebody wants to use it, Marbury v. Madison, right, clearly states that if any law is repugnant to the Constitution, it's null and void. So all these laws are null and void, but people just keep following them, and people keep arresting, and people say, I'm just doing my job, I'm just following orders, and they keep arresting people for these unconstitutional laws, and one of these is NICS. Well, supposedly there's a system, this is according to John Crump at Ammoland, there's a system now within the federal government where an agent that works for different departments of the federal government can fill out a form to red flag a citizen. They send it to the FBI. The FBI looks it over, and if they decide to, you become a prohibited person. Now, that's totally different than being adjudicated mentally defective, right? Becoming a felon. Hey, I said it an hour ago, and I'm pretty sure a couple people got mad at me, but I don't care, because I just have to be myself on here. Felons shouldn't prohibit you from owning a firearm, in my opinion, okay? There's other things and ways we can approach, because there's crazy, sick, deranged people, don't get me wrong. But just this blanket thing, felon can never have a firearm the rest of your life. It's a long time, isn't it? Well, now there's a red flag thing where you can be flagged. Now, this isn't by your girlfriend, your spouse, someone you co-inhabited with, neighbor, brother-in-laws, whatever. No. This is somebody within the federal government, according to John Crump. Go over to his channel and watch the video. They can red flag you and fill out paperwork and make it where you just show up one day prohibited person. Now, like most things with the federal government, they're not going to tell you about it, okay? No. It's called an ex parte hearing, right, with regular red flag laws. In other words, take the guns first, then due process. That's what the Republican president said. And now this current former vice president, he's encouraging all states to adopt red flag laws. Yeah, I know. You're screwed here, you're screwed more there. It's just like two sides of the same corrupt coin. This side is going to take some of your guns. most of them eventually. This side is going to take all of your guns. What a lovely choice. Let's see here. Do I just want them to take some people's guns first and then due process, or do I want them to take all of people's? I don't know. I don't want to choose either. Do you guys? So yeah, what's up with that? Now he's going to be dropping, from what I understand, a bombshell story that's going to show the actual leaked documents. So I'll be paying attention to that, and I'll report on it here as soon as I get that information. Red flagged by a federal government employee. Did you guys hear about this? It's developing right now, and he's just waiting to get a few more of his stuff ready before he puts out all the evidence. And I don't doubt it, and that's why I'm reporting on it here. Anytime I've seen John Crump make an assertion, he's always backed it up. Yeah. A-Dubs, what's happening, man? Nice to see you. He says 2A was always a restriction on government. Absolutely. They have zero authority except from the barrels of the guns of the sociopaths they employ. Yeah, you guys remember? Chairman Mao of China probably killed more people than all the other tyrannical dictators of the last century combined. Probably. We'll never know how many, but way too much life. Because there's very fine people that lived there too, and that live there right now. And it sucks to live there, but a lot of them died. And he said all political power, Mao said all political power comes from the barrel of a gun. And he knew what he was talking about. He didn't allow any of his peasants to have guns whatsoever. And they were able to very easily, some people say 90 million people. Some people say 150 million. Some people said probably more, and we'll never even know how many. Yeah. Look, it doesn't say the federal government of the United States of America grants you the right to keep and bear arms. Right? A-Dubs doesn't say that. It says the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's an implied right. That means that the federal government was only recognizing that we already had that, but that wasn't enough. They went one step further. They said, since you have that right, since it's necessary to the security of a free state, now hands off, don't tread on me, shall not be infringed. And it was a strict prohibition of the government. You know, the First Amendment, that doesn't say the government grants you the right to the freedom of religion. It doesn't say that at all. It doesn't say that you have the right, according to Thomas Jefferson, right? Or James Madison, to speak freely. No. Congress shall pass no law, which implies that, look, they're abridging these rights. So the rights were already there, and the government was strictly prohibited from doing it. And you know what? I get it when people say things like this, because it's fine to a point, but it's kind of not fine. And I'm not trying to be too nitpicky, but I'm actually kind of getting tired of people talking about our two-way rights. Now, if they say our Second Amendment protected rights, that's a lot more specific. And it's even more specific when they say our rights endowed by our Creator, where the government's prohibited in the Second Amendment. And I get it. We talk about the Second Amendment, and it is part of the social constructs and the legal construction of this country. This is literally the law of the land. When you say the United States of America, it's the Constitution, it's the Bill of Rights, it's the Declaration of Independence, and that is what it is. But these are not our Second Amendment rights. Look, your right to speak freely, your right to practice religion freely, that's not a First Amendment right. It's just not. And I think once people realize that look, because if somebody gives you something, here's another way I like to look at it. If somebody gives you something, they can take it away, can't they? Yeah. And that's why the Founding Fathers acknowledged that, look, whoever your creator is, and that's a personal choice for all of you to decide, and it's none of my business, but you know what that is when you think about it. Whoever created you, they're the person that's going to take you when you go, right? When you're no longer here on this earth. Yeah, and that's a powerful thing. Look, governments come and go. Governments wax and wane. Seems like our government's becoming more and more tyrannical as time goes on. And they want you to think that the Founding Fathers gave you your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms, because then they'll say, well, hold on a minute. These old men a long time ago who weren't nearly as enlightened or smart as we are now, because they all think they keep getting smarter and smarter. And it's an insult, isn't it? Because the kind of rhetoric that they're spewing right now requires the listener to be much dumber than the speaker. And it's an insult to your intelligence when people like the former vice president of the United States get on there and they say, oh, well, no rights are absolute, blah, blah, blah. Oh, really? They're not absolute? Well, of course they're absolute. Because none of these founding fathers, which, by the way, this sleepy, incompetent old man, look, he's not even worthy of being underneath one of their toenails. But those people didn't even give us our rights, let alone him. It's completely ridiculous. And I'm not trying to ruin you guys' nights. You should be happy, but you should be insulted when you hear that type of stuff. I don't blame you. I know I am. You should be angry when you hear that. When someone says your rights are not absolute. Oh, really? Yeah, they are. They're absolutely absolute. You didn't give them to me, and you can't take it away. You sleepy old man. It's crazy, isn't it? John Crump, there he is. I was just talking about him a few minutes ago. He says, great points. Well, thanks a lot, dude. And I definitely appreciate all the stuff you're doing. You know, you're really putting your neck out on the line. And I appreciate that. And I hope a lot of other people do too. And I hope your dogs are in good order. And I'm sure you'll be all right, dude. John Crump's going to be all right. He's a tough dude, but man, he's really been bringing it lately. And I'm looking forward to your story that you provided us a teaser on. Red flag laws from within the federal government? That's nuts, isn't it? That's crazy. It's kind of an honor. I'm sitting there going through. Just think about where I'm at from my standpoint, guys. I'm going through. I'm like, yeah, red flag laws from the federal government, from interagencies. There's this really good author out there. He's always breaking the news. Everything I've seen him, he always has all the facts. And this is like a great resource. And he's here on my stream. So awesome to see you, man. It's kind of crazy. It's like say you're doing a Glock video, right? And Gaston Glock comes in your chat. I'm like, Ammo Land, the John Crump, and then he's right here. Thanks, John. I appreciate you, dude. And I hope a lot of people do. Untouchable City Prepper. Salute from Detroit, everyone. Heck yeah, dude. Detroit, Michigan. Check this out. I don't know how much you guys are into fishing, but over there in Untouchable City Prepper's neighborhood. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar. I wish I could be fishing, but instead I'm out here. Well, I'm here hanging out with you guys right now, which is awesome. But I'm out there spreading mulch. Right there in the Detroit River, right? Basically a record-setting lake sturgeon. So for all of you fishermen, they literally pulled out this sturgeon. Did you guys see this? It was seriously like kind of cool news in Michigan. They say this fish is over 100 years old. Now, lake sturgeon, they're kind of a thing that's very prized, in Lake Erie and in these Great Lakes. Basically, in my opinion, an oversized scum-sucking carp. But whatever, this sturgeon is huge. It literally was like, what did they say? Took 3 people. They were going through the net to get it out. Now, this animal was tagged, this fish, and put back safely, but of all things, you reminded me. But no, I was just reading about it in the news. Go look it up if you guys are into fishing. I know a lot of you guys love to hunt and love to fish. You should see this beautiful fish. I mean, this thing's like 6-7 foot long, huge dorsal fin sticking out of the back. Record-setting lake sturgeon was just pulled out of Untouchable City Prepper's neighborhood there. Nice fishing area. Or Bubbets rolls into the chat, Mateo. Well, not to pat myself on the back too much, but I was lucky enough to get some footage of Wilhelm Bubbets in my BB6 video. So if you guys want to see a video, go check my Bubbets BB6. And there's a spot where he's going through some disassembly, and he himself. Now, we didn't meet face to face because he's over there like in Austria, right? But yeah, I did get some footage for the channel. Yeah, dude, go check that fish out. Lake sturgeon, like beautiful, beautiful fish. I'm so glad they let him go so he can keep passing his genetics on. And awesome, awesome fish. I grew up right there on Lake Erie, so I actually get into that kind of stuff. Harry Grimley, yeah, they did return it. They gave it a little tag just so that they could, if it gets caught again or whatever. But yeah, those fish were basically almost fished to extinction. I don't know why people want them. And it's basically, like I said, a glorified sucker fish carp, but still a beautiful animal nonetheless, But yeah, they pulled that sucker out of there, and it was like covering the whole Yeah, it would have sunk my little boat that I have. I've got a little 12-foot boat. That thing was bigger than the boat, basically. Mike McClune with the super sticker. Thanks a lot, man. Mike McClune's a handsome-looking guy. Look at him there. He's about a... Geez, how big is that black bear? No, that's not Mike. I always like his avatar. You guys have a lot of interesting avatars, actually. Hold on. I'm waiting for this side chat over here to catch back up because where I'm at in StreamYard, it doesn't show what's on the sticker. You guys have left me a lot of super chats tonight. You guys are super generous. I really appreciate it. And as soon as I can get through this week from Hack, I have to finish my taxes still, guys. And get some landscaping jobs done. I'll actually have time to go buy some more stuff from the channel. I'm going to go with the AREX Delta, I think. First place, I said, guys, AREX Delta or SARS Lamaze SAR 9. First place was both. I'll get them both eventually, but then AREX was definitely second. So, and then probably I'll get the SAR 9 later. I know some of you guys really like it. Mike McClune, hype. He's got the hippo doing the man, that hippo thinks goofy as heck, but I like it though. I do. Yeah. It's just funny, some of the stuff that pops up out here. Oh, dude, Randy Smith. That's hilarious, man. Dude, I like that. Thanks for the laugh, dude. He says that big fish is down there with all the guns from the boating accidents. Oh. Look, I like it. It's late at night. I'm getting off in a couple minutes just because I needed a laugh. But I know we're joking when we say that. If anyone's seriously thinking about having a boating accident, just give them to someone else who actually has a pair, okay? Look, we need all the guns we can have right now. Either grow a pair yourself, or if you feel the need to lose them all, give them to someone who actually has a pair, because we need them all above ground right now. Nice. John Loven said, I too grew up on the shore of Lake Erie. Nice, man. Oh, yeah. Perch and walleye from that area. Exactly. Right. Essentially in my backyard, to be honest with you. Where's the beautiful Linda hates Gretchen Whitmer at? She lives near Lake Erie, too. Dale Konya, yep. Thanks for being a channel member, by the way. I appreciate it. I'm putting up some content for you guys. Maybe you guys are the only ones that'll ever get videos again if they keep restricting them. I shouldn't say that. I don't know, guys. I'm just frustrated with YouTube at the moment. Spent a lot of time making these videos, and I already know about the guns and stuff. Look, demonetized, that's one thing. But when it's out and out restricted and they're promising you not many people see it, it just bums me out. Why would I want to make a video and like one person sees it, right? I could just sit there in my shop and show guns to one person, but they don't like us on here, man. Chris Plummer, thanks for being a channel member, man. Good night. Nice seeing you, dude. I'm just going to hang out in the chat. So if anyone's like, hold on a minute, I already talked about everything in the title. So if you guys don't mind, I'm just going to be selfish and say hi to you guys for just a couple minutes because I get going during the stream and I miss half the people that are in here. Now you guys are all going down to the Detroit River to try to catch that big fish. I'm not joking. Look it up. You guys aren't going to believe me. Like, oh, dude, come on. He's exaggerating. The dude's dorsal fin. That fish's dorsal fin was just, the dorsal fin so big I could almost see it like swimming through this stream right now. It's a nice one. A nice big old carp. Sucker fish. Oh, man. Sturgeon's lives matter too, guys. And he's been alive for over 100 years, which is crazy. Mac Shot, man. Good to see you. He said at Pillbox Bunker. Where's Pillbox Bunker? I don't need to find him, but dude, always awesome to see you, man. Pillbox Bunker is one of my good friends. I'm really glad I met him. Where's Jeremy Wilson at? Pillbox. Are those kids in bed already? So, Jeremy Wilson, man. Nice to see you if you're in here. If not, tell him I said hi, Pillbox. And the wonderful Mrs. Wilson, right? Amanda Wilson. Look, guys, they kind of met through this show. I'm not even joking when I say that. So it goes something like this. There's a young man named Jeremy Wilson. I'm going to share this story with you guys because this stuff's encouraging. Young man named Jeremy Wilson started coming into my streams. How long ago has that been, Pillbox? Oh, maybe a couple years ago, let's just say. He's been around guns his whole life, but he was kind of new to the Taurus G2C, so he's coming in, he's talking to us. At that time, you know, him and his young bride, you know, young fairly newlywed couple, and he's living life down in Bama, living good, working hard. He was working at a chicken hatchery down there. Became friends with us, became one of our good friends, and then sadly, he came in and reported to us that his wife was really sick. And then as the weeks went on, we were all praying for her. She didn't get better. She kept getting worse and worse, and she did unfortunately pass. And I said, man, that sucks, because he'd become our friend just from hanging out in these streams, like literally just from hanging out in these streams. And we all prayed for him and talked to him, and I kind of, tried to befriend him the best I could. And then there was a really nice man named Pillbox Bunker that said, if you need anyone to talk to, get a hold of me, right? And he did, and they talked, and they became really good friends. Well, as time went on, Jeremy was getting a lot of encouragement from these streams and from people like Pillbox Bunker and many other fine people. And you guys that have been around, there used to only be about 30, 40 people. So a lot of you might not know this story, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. For companionship, well, guess what? Me and Jeremy became pretty darn good friends, and Pillbox Bunker and him became good friends. Well, it just so happened to be that as Jeremy was, you don't get over it. I don't know how to word it, but he was dealing with grieving over his loss and trying to move on. Is that the way? I don't know how to word this. I've never had that happen, and I'm lucky. It just so happened to be that Pillbox Bunker's granddaughter was single. She couldn't meet a decent guy. And then basically he came to Michigan here, met Pillbox Bunker's granddaughter, and now they're married, Mr. and Mrs. Jeremy and Amanda Wilson. So literally, basically this channel, and now they're married. That's awesome, guys. I just wanted to share that with you, because just life happens in really, really weird ways. And now I'm good friends with Pillbox and Jeremy. I see him all the time, pretty much almost every day. Crazy stuff. I know he's already in bed because he's a lightweight, Pillbox, but tell him to watch the last 15 minutes of the stream. It's all true, and there might be a couple of you guys that were around for the streams back then that remember all that, and I want that to encourage all of you. That was the whole point of me even talking about this. There's beautiful women and nice guys that hang out in here too. If there's beautiful guys, whatever, go on with yourself. But beautiful women and cool dudes hang out here. MacShot62 with the super chat. Thanks, man. He said they are coming for your guns, and they are. But keep your chin up. As for our governor, call you next Tuesday, Gretch. Family-friendly way of wording that. Like I said, dude, she's a real beauty in a different kind of way, isn't she? Not so much in a good kind of way, though. Ed, what's happening, man? That I can't pronounce your name, Ed Kachunian. I got it. Thanks for the super chat, man. He said, so peaceful protesters want to bully older folks trying to eat a meal in Kentucky. Why don't they pick on guys like me? Yeah, that is how that works, isn't that? Well, I know why, because they're weak. And that's what these people do. And when the people are weak, that's when the federal government tries to get tough. Right, Ed? Hey, it's this simple. I said it earlier, but I'm going to say it one more time because it's true. When the people fear the government, there's tyranny. But when the government fears the people, there's liberty. And that's what happens. These little petty tyrants out there picking on older folks and this and that. Edward, man, I'm looking at your avatar. You look like a pretty tough dude, man. I don't think I want to tangle with you. And I don't know. The government thinks they want to tangle with us. Look. I can only say so much on here, but I encourage all of you to stay strong. And in my opinion, with this new ATF proposed rulemaking change, they want to scare you and they want to intimidate you. And hopefully you'll just willingly give up all of your guns if that's what it takes, where you don't have to be scared anymore. And if that happens, we're going to be in even a lot worse trouble than we are right now, A lot worse trouble. Let me see who else is hanging out in here. Oh, Coasty, what's happening, dude? Nice to see you, man. There's some tough people that hang out in here. I know that for a fact. Hey, Dubs, why you got to throw shade at us pretty fellas? Like I said, if you're out there, I'm more into pretty women than pretty fellas. But, yeah, A Dub's is a pretty boy, I think is what he is admitted to. What's up, man? Thanks for helping out over there on the on my Facebook group. Threaded for my pleasure, wherever you're at, if you're listening. Thank you, sir. I have a Facebook group, guys. If you're in that, I know some of you hate Facebook, but if you like it, the 2A EDU Facebook group is actually pretty cool. It's a private group, so there's a couple questions we ask, and then one of the people that help, moderate the channel over there will be glad to accept you. So definitely check me out over on the Facebook. I don't go on there a lot just because, like I said, when you own a small business, the business ends up owning you. Davey85, what's happening? Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Patriot R. Benke says, we got fish like that in Oregon in the Columbia River. Crazy, man. Could you imagine that, trying to pull in a fish that weighed hundreds and hundreds of pounds? Some of you live on the ocean and you're like, that's nothing, right? But there she is. Linda, Sleepy Joe, gotta go. I agree. Says, look out the window in the winter and see Lake Erie. Yep. She looks out the window. I'm sorry. And sees Lake Erie. The trees block it in the summer. Yep. Huh. MP, we need your energy. Thank you. I need you guys too. I really do. Or a boat. What do you guys talking about? Capital BOAT. Randy Ben said good night, so he's probably already gone. Jane Locke, what are you doing, Jane? I don't have a pair, but I'll take them from you characters. All right. No, we don't want that. Psh, come on, Jane. Grow a pair, Jane. Oh, geez. I got to keep it family friendly. I can see myself going down a rabbit hole with that, but I probably shouldn't. I'm just taking a quick peek at the chat here. What's happening, Rudy Fenney? Looking forward to hopefully seeing and meeting you on the 15th. I would like to meet you, dude. I've been wanting to meet you for a while, man. Those are some nice looking Jeeps, by the way. I do like those. Mark Steelser says, I'm 33 trapped in a 66-year-old body. Well, make the best of it, man. That sucks, but everyone's got their issues, and I guess you're only given what you can take, right? So hang in there, man. Ozark, what's happening, Ozark? How you doing, man? Another great channel. Glad to see you here, dude. And I feel so bad, guys. I'm trying to say hi to as many of you as I can, but man, I see people like, man, I almost made it a whole stream without saying hi to Ozark and A-Dubs. I forget half the time, and just know it's not intentional, guys. I really like all of you. There's just a couple more of you than me. John Williams, speaking of good people, glad to see you, dude. He says, yeah, me and Jeremy became friends on Facebook. He's a good kid. Isn't that crazy? He came in here from Alabama. Now he's married to someone in Michigan. Like, how does that even happen? I guess everything happens for a reason, right? Ting Ting, how you doing? What's happening? Says, no, I don't speak English very well. Oh, come on. You speak a little bit. No, I don't speak English very well. I don't know. I don't know if I believe her or not. I believe you because I like you, but I think she speaks pretty well, actually. Gary Weisner, what's happening, man? Speaking of pretty dudes, attractive people, you can blame A-Dubs for that, Gary. Sorry about that. Blame A-Dubs. What's happening, dude? He says, I'm not scared, but very disappointed in the direction this country's going. I am, too. I understand what you're saying, man. I do. And I'm more willing to die for the freedom of my kids. More than willing. Hope it doesn't come to that. I really, really hope it doesn't come to that. But a lot of you are going to have to decide on your own, and serialized. What's a receiver? What's not a receiver? I don't know. I don't know, man. DB Cooper, thanks. I appreciate it. Says, you absolutely get it, my friend. Well done. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I do appreciate the encouragement. I don't have to say this stuff. I say it because I mean it, guys. ASMR says, I really enjoyed this live stream. A lot of good people in this community. Dude, people are awesome in this chat, man. Man or ma'am, actually, I don't know. ASMR. Hopefully everyone has a great weekend, and thank you to AEDU for all the great content you give us. Well, thank you, and I hope all of you guys have a good weekend. Let's see who else is hanging out. Victor Miller, what's happening? Says, thanks again for another great show tonight. Well, thank you. I have a feeling this was a really good chat because I was looking out of the corner of my eye. Yeah, I think so. I'm going to be looking forward to reading this later. Guns, Arts, and Crafts. What's happening, man? Nice to see you. Bill Alexander, Michigan guy. A 5-foot channel cat. Okay, Blue Water Bridge. Nice. So he's over there in the Port Huron area-ish, or that's where he was scuba diving anyways. Nice, man. Caught a 5-foot channel cat. Crazy. David Nicholas, what's up? Grew up swimming in the, I can't pronounce it, Tittabawassee River? I don't know. Here's the thing, guys. At the end of the day, hopefully I don't get too much hate mail. I didn't wait till the end for the 9mm. And there's like a couple hundred of you in here right now as witnesses. I did it almost at the very beginning. Now, I felt bad about it. Guys were like, I had to dredge through 2 hours of this complete horse crap stream just to get to the 9mm. Hey, I gave it at the beginning. Why do I keep getting gravitated back to... I already read that chat. Linda Sleepy Joe gotta go. I don't know why. I guess I just like looking at her. I keep gravitating back to putting her stuff on the screen. Look, guys, Brian R. He says, Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And I agree. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. You guys are awesome, and I hope all of you at least call your mom or hang out with them if you can. Because the federal government doesn't love you. I promise you that. But most likely your mom does. So you should all love your moms out there because you wouldn't exist without them. And plus, you just love them, right? Rick Nieper, what's happening, Rick? Nice to see you, dude. Did you just sneak in here or did I miss you all night? But I'm glad I see you now. What's up, dude? How you doing? There he is, Brastard762. What's happening, man? Just finished an AK-63 D kit. Nice, nice. I like the Hungarian firearms quite a bit. Hungarian AK-63D, that's the underfolder. I may or may not have one, depending. Susan and your little drones, I may or may not have one right over there. No, I'm not doing the hands up, don't shoot. I'm literally nothing, Susan. Not too happy with Susan Wiki right now. Thanks, Davey85. All right, guys. I've been on here 2 hours already. I can't believe it, but I guess I had a good time because time flew by. All right. I'm out of here. Hopefully they'll let my shotgun video out of jail and I'll post it for you guys soon. In the meantime, you can read the 110 pages if you want. If you don't want to read it, don't read it. I don't really care, but keep your chins up, guys. We need each other. I had a great time hanging out with all of you tonight. I hope you did too. And I'll be back next week. So you guys all hang in there and hopefully it's not hailing where you're at. All right, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching and have a good one.